welcome to the African Emergency Room. Today we'll be discussing something that sounds funny, but very, very serious. The different names they are called, popularly known as Agbo, Gargajia, Ogwu-Igbo, and in English, the traditional medicines, in different mixtures, in powder form, in some nuts, in liquid of different colors and consistency. They are consumed everywhere around, especially amongst the young people. The healthy take them, the sick take them. What are they for? What are the consequences? Are there positives from them? What are the causes of what we have in our society now that is increasing? Renal kidney failures and some organs failing, young people dying of unknown causes. Can they be tied together? Today we have a special guest in the studio today. I don't know if I should call her a specialist in Agbo. For this particular show, we will be calling it Agbo because it's more popular. I want to welcome in the studio today Dr. Rashida Bukoye.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Alex.
Thank you so much for coming to the show, and I'm sure you help us do a lot of unraveling of Agbo.
Hopefully.
So, Dr. Bukoye, what is your understanding of Agbo?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Alex. I think generally, Agbo is like the global, if I can use that word, or general term for concoctions of any kind. There's no scientific basis for whatever is written as the ingredients, for the measurement, for the dosage. It's just something, herbs, mixtures that people in the past have used and seem to have worked for certain things. Mix it, blend it, cook it, boil it, rub it on your body, just for medicinal purposes. Medicinal purposes. So there are different reasons people use these things. Maybe they are cheaper, or they could be cheaper, but then the end effect might not be as cheap as what they were using it for. But Agbo is something you find not just in people, in lay people. It's everywhere. It cuts across everybody. Learned, unlearned, rich, poor, they can easily get it. They can use it for whatever. Almost every complaint the so-called patients have, there is a particular Agbo or concoction for it, from the neonatal age up until to the elderly, to the old patients or people like that. So I think it's something that evolved from cultural practices that have seen to have worked for certain things, and then over the years, our culture has not evolved enough with times to understand that many of these things are just luck, maybe not, but we've kept on repeating comfortably, or maybe we don't have a choice, but we've kept on practicing all these things, and maybe it has come to stay. Maybe.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bukoye. Before the 1930s, I think it was in 1928 that my namesake, Alexander Fleming, discovered penicillin. And then it was an accidental discovery. Yeah. Okay, but before then, I'm sure in the Western world, they were concerned about how to combat bacterial infections and other infections, as it happened during the First World War, that soldiers were dying from infection. And I'm sure there have been a lot of trial and error of so many things until they were able to come up with penicillin and then so many other antibiotics, antimicrobial agents, and many other drugs after that. So can we safely say that even in our own society, we are allowed to do our own trial and errors with our own local things we pick from around and and they work from generation to generation. There are a tradition of handing over things, and maybe they've been working.
So that's where there's a difference. Our society is more like a society of follow what has been happening, not necessarily look at why they've been doing it like that. They must have started with all these herbs then too. But instead of just giving the herbs and saying, oh, this thing worked for this, what is it exactly in this herb that works? And then you pick it out. Because for the one potent ingredient there might be 25 or more than that the body does not need. So they have gone, their science has evolved over time to extract what actually works. Almost all of these chemicals, they are from plants, they are from nature. So they have gone to the extent of researching the science of drawing what is potent, eliminating what is not useful. Dosing is very important. They've gone to the length to do all these things. But we just take it and use it. It is very, very rare. I've not seen one person that has come with herbal concoction and will tell me, this is what is potent in this concoction. To just say, just use it. Oh, You have jedi, use this one. You have open, use this one. You have, just use it. What is in it? No idea. So it's very different. Our own is just blind followership. Over the years, the Europeans, the Western people, they have evolved. They've done the science, and the science has even evolved from what the single penicillin was to other things that they've brought out from penicillins. So it's not just mix this one, cut this dogoyaro tree, cut that lemongrass tree, cut this, boil it, drink 1 cup. 1 cup contains how many milligrams of what? No idea. Just drink it. What is overdose? What is dosage? No idea.
How many milligrams of what? For example, one of the simplest drugs we know, paracetamol. An adult is asked to take 2 tablets. 1 tablet is 500 milligrams. So which means you're taking 1 gram. That's 1,000 milligrams, 3 times a day. Okay, because studies have gone into paracetamol and indeed all other drugs to say this is the safety window of this drug. This is the kind of effect it can give to the liver when it's taken in excess. This is what can happen to the kidney. Because, like, we know how drugs are tested before they are used in humans at all levels, from lower animals till they get to human testing, till they are said, okay, safe to take. Okay, now, but we mix these things, like you said, and we're not even testing it. We are sick already, so we're taking it. Like, I'll be going to cure this thing. It's been happening from the days of my father. So it's going to treat this. Dr. Buko, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at the different types of Agbo we have in our society, and even the hot ones and the cold ones, and how they either help us or kill us. We will be right back. Welcome back to the African Emergency Room. We're talking about Agbo today. I was in a local environment recently in one of the suburbs of the Federal Capital Territory, and there I heard so many things. On my watch, I saw a lady carrying a big tray on her head with several bottles of different colors of mixture inside, and they had names for some of these things and had diseases they were saying these things treat. And I'm a medical practitioner, so I was concerned and needed to know, because I would really want to know these things that can treat so many things, to know where it's coming from, what NAFDAC registration number is in it, what approval it's got. And I heard so many things. I heard there was one called monkey tail. I heard another one called pepper soup. You know, and one Maganin Borantashi, of course, we hear that one a lot from the Hausa community. And I don't know what they put inside. There's one that looks like groundnuts. They tell you if you take it, it just be. And then there are the bitters, a lot of bitters. Okay, so my concern here is, how do these things get so much popularity amongst our people? Okay, especially in these local areas, young people. In the mechanic workshop, I saw one guy, this one was passing, he bought 150 naira. The other person was passing, he bought, and he was drinking, and I asked him, is anything the matter? He said, these things are medicinal. I said, but are you sick? He said, no, but they are medicinal. So, medicine for what, really? Because people just keep taking things. They like them. I don't know how the drugs we give in the hospitals are not as popular as these things. Nobody is, with all the advert that pharmaceutical companies give, they are not as popular as these things. Why is Agbo very popular, especially amongst the young people?
The doctor's questions will be too much. It begins to ask you so many questions and then guilt you in the process. You feel guilty in the process, asking, like, just save that side, just get this, let it work for what it's supposed to work for. And then the other cases, I think, is the most readily available thing to them. A child is convulsing, oh, just pour this garlic, this thing there. It's readily available. There is no anticonvulsant anywhere to give. But what they don't know most of the time is whether or not they pour all this garlic, onion, the convulsion will stop. The convulsion will stop, although the damage has been done. And then most of the time, in giving all they give, they've added more that rub this on the child's body, or if somebody comes, these new mothers with neonates that would rather go and meet all their local. In Yoruba, we call them Elewe Omo, Alagbo Omo. They are specialists. They are like specialists, herbalists for neonates.
Wow.
All kinds of things you have.
Wow.
For this
Consultant
herbalists.
Exactly.
Fontanel that is supposed to be open, they tell them that is wrong for the place to be soft like that. I don't know, maybe they think that there's a missing skull bone that we should have there. and then they make this mix of different things, and then they just put it there like that. It was recently I found out how adhesive those things are. Someone tried to pull it off from the child, and it actually came off with the scalp.
Wow.
But they don't know that. They keep it there, and they tell them not to wash it off. So they just leave it there. It is when you get tired and you try to, you now see this is adhesive, stuck to the scalp. It goes when it's ready to go. And usually by the time it goes off, the fontanel would have closed on its own. This is a natural process. But then, oh, it worked for my child's oka or whatever it is they call it. It worked for my child's own. Sometimes the placebo effect of these concoctions is made to seem like it's working because the natural process is just going on underneath. The fontanel will close on its own, whether or not you cover it with that. But since that place is covered with that, you can't feel what is going on under. So in the 6-7 months it takes for it to actually wash off the adhesive they put there, it's already closing. So it's, oh, the space is small. Oh, that thing worked. Oh, and you tell her friend. It goes on like that.
Well, some people say that the drugs we take, that do we even know what it's contained, that these drugs, I know somebody who said, I don't take drug. Whenever I feel like this, I know what to mix. I mix this and make this, I'm fine. Sometimes I'm not bothered about the potash, the dogoyaro leaf, all these things people mix and wash and take. Sometimes I'm bothered about what people do not even know that they're taking. Example, a patient I lost, unfortunately, a huge man, breadwinner, rich man. He had come to the hospital and he told me quietly, he said, I felt sick, I took drug, it seemed not to have worked. I took a bottle of bitters. It seemed not to have worked. I took a second bottle and I took a third bottle. This man was looking very acutely ill. We ended up taking him to the theater because he had this surgical abdomen. By the time we opened, we drained 3 liters of pus from his abdomen. Well, eventually he was in shock. He was taken to the intensive care unit and we lost him because his organs had shut down. And then I was wondering, what bitters? For what? That this man will just end his life like this. The increasing rate of organ failures, you watch on TV, they'll tell you, please, this person needs 6 million naira to go for a kidney transplant. And it touches me because, maybe because there's been underdiagnosis before, maybe the rate was like that before, I don't know, but I just feel that it's increasing, especially young people. Kidney failure, kidney failure, kidney failure, chronic hepatitis, cirrhosis of the liver, all that. And I keep wondering, who is going to tell us better? Because where people may get Agbo from today may not be where they will go to complain about the problems with their kidneys tomorrow. They may come to you finally. They may die in your hands. And then you are the bad doctor. Okay? So is there a relationship really? I appear to have been saying that there is between taking these concoctions and these organ failures we see commonly in our society today.
Yes, there is. Because even licensed medicines with all this from these big pharmaceutical companies that have gone through years and years of research, they have adverse reactions. And they tell you that at this level, this drug becomes nephrotoxic. It can damage your kidneys. At this level, it can damage your liver. So you don't take it. And some of them even come with age adjustment. In neonates, you use less. In the elderly, you use less. That's the reason. So you can now think, if those ones have to be so cautious, imagine this Agbo person that just cooked everything in a big pot and just gives you a cup to drink with absolutely no idea what exactly is inside it. And the thing is, most of this, they have, apart from having effects on the organs, if we look at the main organs that these things affect, the livers and the kidneys, like they are like the body's cleansing system. If you begin to overflog your liver with something it does not need, it can't handle, it leaves it in the body. If you can't take care of it, it overworks itself, and at some point, I'm tired. It leaves it. And then it gives a lot of work for your kidneys to do to remove it. The kidneys try to take this off, take this off, take this off. At a point, it just gets tired. It's like a car, or is it like a horse? You can ride. One day it gets tired, and you're like, okay,
can go.
I've had enough. And there are transplants and all that, but there's no body organ that is self-replaceable. How many people get the transplants they want delivered? How many people get it? Not many. And we should understand that most of this damage is not something that occurred the first or second time you take it. Even as far back as a child that is 2 years, 3 years, being given these things, that might be the first time the kidney has the injury. And over the years, the organs just get tired of, there's too much injury, there's too much damaged parts for the organs to actually carry out its function, and the deficit begins to show. And then you now see, okay, this person is, you see a 35, 40-year-old person that tells you, I don't take alcohol, but takes concoctions in end-stage liver disease, cirrhosis, needing transplant. You see a young, apparently non-hypertensive 35, 40-year-old that requires renal transplant. You begin to wonder, where is all this coming from? All these recreational drugs, all these Agbos, they cause all these things.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bukoye. Our viewers, Agbo is a thing of concern for all of us. The organs we have in our body, particularly the kidneys, because we've been seeing this so much. Somebody needing transplant, someone having dialysis about 3 times in a week, you know the cost of these things. And then eventually, it just digs this big hole in the pocket of the family, empties everything, and ends up in death. We do not want all these things. There are those things that are NAFDAC approved, those things that are being advertised everywhere, that need to be reviewed over and over again, because there should be a review, there should be a system that checks things to know that something that has been approved today is not being adulterated tomorrow. And then those that do not even have any form of approval, that have not gone through any form of testing, can we flush these things out of our systems? Can we stop selling these things? Can we stop buying these things? Can we stop poisoning our system? As from age 40, the nephrons, which are the small cells in your kidneys that help with this purification, have reduced drastically. Okay, and then as you age after 40, they reduce like that every 10 years. So you see that no new nephron is being added to your kidneys. So the more you poison your kidney at that time, the faster it goes down. There's no duplicate. You just have 2. Sometimes 1 can do the work. Those of us standing, looking at ourselves right now, how are you sure how many are working very well inside of you? Are you sure you're not on spare tire already? May our tires never expire. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, ask us. Goodbye. See you next time.